Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is America. This is America. This live stream may or may not be for you. However, consider this, and I may get into trouble for even asking the question. Should white people be allowed to say the N word? And I see Paul Walker say nope. I struggled talking about this. I struggled with it. I struggled with it. But let me bring some context to it. I mean, as you can see in the thumbnail, this does come from a place. I was watching Dear White People on Netflix, and they brought up the issue of whether or not, like I said, the white people should say the N word and whatnot. And it kind of led me to to look for the context of it, to say, where would I begin? Where would be the genesis of this conversation? How would it fit in today's, society or generation, into, where I could take it and whatnot? And I found a story. I said it once, I have my butt kicked. This is gonna be a controversial one for sure. Maybe this is gonna be controversial. Soulless trench coat. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on how you take it, how you feel. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on it. I'm not trying to set anybody up. But this is just something that came to mind. So what's going on, Christy Tina? This is controversial, and I have to say this. So I was looking to try to put this in some kind of context, to where I could relate this to. What's going on, creative spirit? And like I said again, I'm not trying to attack anybody, for their particular views on this situation or how they may feel. But to put it into context, one of the inspirations for this is that the rapper Kendrick Lamar explains why he called out a white fan for rapping the N word. And in it, it said basically this was a music festival out in Alabama, and he brought some fans up on stage. Was multiple people, different races and whatnot. Yeah, Paul Walker, it's good to have respect for all peoples and whatnot. So Kendrick Lamar, the rapper, brings all these people on stage, and a female fan, Caucasian female fan, basically is rapping one of his songs and says the N word, and he called the fan out. So Vanity Fair, had published a story, and they were asking Kendrick Lamar, about the whole situation and whatnot, and from what Kendrick, a person who hate hair, anyone in the color skin, say that, hey, what's going on, Llama Monster? I could agree with you, Christy Tina, but I just want to go to what Kendrick Lamar said about the situation, about calling out a fan for rapping the N word for one of his songs, on stage. He said, let me put it to you in its simplest form. Kendrick Lamar told the publication, I've been on this earth for 30 years, and there's been so many things that a Caucasian person has said I couldn't do. He continued, good credit, buy a house in an urban city, so many things. You can't do that, whether it's from a far or close up. So if I say this is my word, please let me have that. Now, somebody said to me, was Kendrick Lamar wrong for calling out the fan? Especially if you call out the fan for, a song that you rap the word in, or let's say it's in a movie, and somebody's quoting their favorite movie line, so you put that in the movie, is it wrong for the person to say that particular word? Is it wrong, for him to be mad? And a coworker asked me about this, and my thing was, it's both. I say it's both. It may not be the popular thing to say. It's wrong to call a person out, and it's wrong to say, okay, this word is in there. Sometimes it can look like entrapment, but I understand where he's coming from as well. I can understand, the point of view, especially being a black man, saying, this is, our word or my word or whatever the case may be. So it gets crazy like that. Let me see what you said. Solar Trescos. When I personally don't say it in either the ending or even, yeah, okay, the ER, the A, it's a sad word that originally meant ignorant, become personal bashing too. Well, one of my coworkers was saying to me, and which many black folks have said, is that we try to reclaim the word as our own. And, you know, that's a thing, that people do, and it's something that's, I guess, as a sense of empowerment. But I go back to what Maya Angelou said to the rapper Common, when he tried to bring it to her, the famous Maya Angelou's, the Still I Rise, and activist, and just all around scholar. Rest in peace to Maya Angelou. She was talking and having a conversation with Common, and Common was saying basically how we try to take the word and reclaim it as a sense of empowerment. And what Maya Angelou said is that you could take some poison and put it in a new bottle, but it's still poison. As far as the word, black people, we do use it as a term of endearment. We do use it as a way of referring to each other. I'm not saying it's always right. We all have the same color of blood. I don't care what their color is saying. It's just wrong. Well, there's a lot of people that feel like it's wrong. There's a lot of people that feel that white people shouldn't say it. But then, if you're looking at it from a Caucasian standpoint, of somebody from the opposite race, if I'm looking objectively, what they say, and I've talked to many people who are of a Caucasian persuasion, they've said, okay, then why do you use it with each other? Is it right for you to use it with each other? And they have a they have a point. It's not right for us to use it with each other, but at the same time, it's something within our community that we need to deal with, and we need to gather. Just like as any other community, be it Asian, be it Spanish, whatever the case may be. Everybody has their qualms, their things that they need to deal with within their community. So some people feel that regardless if it's an in-house issue, regardless if black people should or shouldn't be saying it to each other, it's a situation where white people shouldn't be saying it because it's still offensive regardless of the fact. Does it come off as hypocritical? Yes, it does come off as hypocritical. It comes off as hypocritical for me to say to my peoples, you my N-word, and then when a white person says it, then now I'm mad and I'm ready to go at them and whatnot. So it's not really understood by a lot of people why we would use the word referring to each other, understanding the negativities and where the word came from, using to demean black people and whatnot and really tear them down. So the only thing I can say is that as black people, we kind of like try to reclaim the word, but it still doesn't mean that the word is the best thing to use. It still doesn't mean it's the way to go, But I can understand where Kendrick Lamar is coming from, is if you're saying that this is, our word, or this is my word, or this is something that I'm using, this is almost my ignorance, or this is my point of view. This is how I come about it, and it's not to try to tear down Kendrick Lamar because I like a lot of his music, but some people have said that it's a setup because if you knew that these words are inside of your song, why call up a white Caucasian woman, a young woman that's infatuated with you, and say that? Or my thing could have been like, if you're gonna call the person up, you give a disclaimer, hey, look, you can sing along with my lyrics, but don't use that word. So I mean, I don't know how it was. I wasn't at the concert or whatever. I seen snippets and pieces of certain things, but it gets really dicey when it comes to racial terminology, especially like that, as far as what people use and how they refer to each other, because let's be real, for those folks in the black community that know, it's like, yeah, we can say it to each other all day, but if somebody that's a little shade, a little too light, from the white community say it, then it's a problem, and it's sad, but it's what it is. I consider you my brother. Color doesn't matter to me. Yeah, Paul Walker, and I consider the same. But when it comes to that word, when it comes to color, it's like it's crazy. I cannot, in my wildest imagination, think of an acceptable situation using that word would be appropriate. No, it's not. Besides that, it's never appropriate to use the N word. But at the same time, it's a bad habit. It's something that's been a term of endearment for many centuries. Unfortunately, in the black community, it's something that we have to deal with. I agree with Solar's Trenchcoat. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, and it's unfair. A lot of times with when you have people who are coming from a different race or something like that, and they really don't mean harm to it. But it is something that I guess black people like to claim as their own, is to say, this is our ignorance, or this is our thing. It shouldn't be used, but it is used. Sometimes, if you want to be realistic, it's used as a way to piss white people off. I mean, to say, hey, this is what you've called us, or what you may refer to us as, and we take it and we flip it, and then we make it something of it that was meant for evil, but used for good. But my personal definition is along with Maya Angelou. How Maya Angelou said, just because you take poison and put it in a new bottle, doesn't mean that it's not poison. It's still poison. Showing channel love and smashing that like button. Appreciate it, Jade. I thank you. I thank you for that. This is a controversial issue because at the end of the day, black people are I hate to say this, black people are to blame in the situation as well. I mean, some people may say I'm cooning or I'm pandering at this point, which is fine. But if we put out music, if we put out movies or popular stuff in the culture, just content when it has these racial slangs and terminology, in it, we have to be aware that we're encouraging or inviting, that to be said by people of other races, especially if we want them to buy our music. Because what happens? Do we say it's okay for you to buy my music or to buy my content and take it home? And do you not say the word even when you're at home? Do you just listen to it, just hum along and not say a word? I mean, it gets controversial like that. I think white people shouldn't say it, I mean, because of the negative connotations that it has. But at the same time, as black people, we probably shouldn't be saying it either, but nobody wants to really come out there and say that, not on a realistic way. I know it may be unpopular to say. So it's wrong for somebody to call somebody out for it if that's a word that you constantly use. Now, if I'm somebody who's saying I don't use the word, welcome back, Trenchcoat. If I'm saying I'm somebody who don't use the word, and then I see somebody, from a different race saying the word, then of course I have, all the rights, all the means. And like I said, if Kendrick Lamar happens to hear this, if we ever cross paths, it's not meant to tear you down, brother, or whatever. It's just an interesting conversation, an interesting, I guess way to go about it or whatever the case may be, because I think it's a situation where it's a catch 22. I don't ever, won't ever. On the other hand, Eddie Murphy has a very funny stand-up routine on the word. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I mean, it's crazy, Kevin. All I can say is that it's controversial because one of the things that makes it so controversial is that black people, we don't stop using the word. So if black people didn't use the word, and if it wasn't in popular culture, if it wasn't a part of a lot of what we do, or say in our music, in our language, then it wouldn't be that much of an issue. However, it's not something that could just be erased from the history. Just especially like any negative words, be it they anti-Semitic, be it they homophobic, be it they something that goes against people of other races, be it they Middle Eastern, be it they Far Eastern, be it they Hispanic, be it they Russian, whatever, what I'm saying, Asian, so it's so many different ways to look at it, because no matter how you slice it, no matter how you put it, it is a dicey word. Words are not evil. The person saying it knows what's in their heart when they say it. Yeah, I hear you on that one, but a word is still a word that could be negative. If I curse at you and I say a curse word at you, even if I meant it as a term of endearment, if I said the F word or any of the expletive words that we know and love many times, it still doesn't make it okay. If I call you an MFer, and I'm saying as a term of endearment, I still said something disrespectful to you. It's just that I'm saying it in a way that doesn't mean it's not demeaning. I'm not meaning it to be demeaning to you. But, if I change the context of it, of course, it's going to be something that really riles you up. Which is why for some people, they're rolling in their grave when if they would know. They would roll in their grave if they would know how the N word is used, how people fought and died for the word not to be used. You know, there's a lot of people, black folks, who have fought and died for us just to have the dignity as black people, just for us to be able to stand on our own too, and to be respected as human beings, not to be seen as, part of a human being, but the whole human being. Even back to the civil rights movement where people walked around with signs on saying, I am a man. I am a man and I'm a man first, human being first. So the use of the word in whatever, I guess connotation, in whatever stretch, in whatever way, it does cause controversy, cause conflict, because on one end, it is tempting to use amongst people of color to show that it's a term of endearment, to understand, and that we're going to take power over the word and use it or whatever the case may be. And what's going on, Patch? I told you I would be speaking on this matter, and I expected you to come through, and I appreciate you to come through. George Carlin has a bit on that word as well. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have a bit on that word, Dory. It's a controversial word. It's a controversial word. It has a lot of negative connotations to it. Am I that predictable? Well, I knew you would be here for this one. I knew you would be here for this one, Patch. I can't speak on my other ones. You may not be here for every other one. It seems like the N word. It seems like the N word seems to be used a lot as a joke nowadays. It can be, it can be used a lot as a joke, but it gets hypocritical. I'll say this as a black person. It gets hypocritical because we use it in the community amongst each other. Like water. Like you breathing. You just say N word. You breathe and it'll come out. Depending on who you speak to. And then, when you look at somebody from another race, you say, well, we don't want to start a fight. I don't want to whoop you out. I don't want to say this, that, and the third. And rightfully so. Okay, that word in itself is nothing. It's just different. Someone calling me, oh, wow. Well, I mean, I hear you, but what's attached to the word is attached to the word. What the word means is what the word means. I mean, people try to take it and make it a term of endearment, but the connotations of the word were meant to make people feel subhuman, less than human. Make them feel like they were nothing, like they were worthless. And to take it now and say, okay, it's a term of endearment, and you're my brother or you're my sister, or we the NIGs for life, or whatever the case may be. It's interesting. I'm not gonna sit there and say that's not. It means nothing worse than what the word used to about itself means, and all the same thing. Well, I hear what you're saying, but like I said, I go back to Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou said, if you take poison and you put it in a new bottle, doesn't mean it's not poison. If you take something that was meant to be a negative thing and you try to flip it and make it something positive, yeah, it does that, but it still has its origins. It still has its effect. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent with the use of the word or, coming across or whatever the case may be. It's something I try not to use or whatever. How do you feel about people saying it's okay to say the word if they use the A at the end instead of the ER? Well, it goes back to Maya Angelou. Just because you change the spelling of it doesn't mean it's not a negative word. I mean, I think it's negative regardless of how you say it, of what you try to make it. I mean, you can try to make it a positive spin, a positive thing, but here's where the hypocrisy comes in. The hypocrisy comes in is when, okay, I say it amongst my people or, in the hood, and we know it and we good, then we down with it or whatever the case may be. But then when somebody who's not initiated or not as black or as down or whatever, now we're offended because that person who has privilege or that person who comes from a different race, thought it was okay and to to culturally appropriate the word or sometimes use it as a demeaning thing because there's racism attached to it. So it becomes hard to listen to it as a black person coming from a white person specifically, especially when you go into slavery and you go into racism, the civil rights movement. It does, have connotations attached to it. If you take that, if take the hateful meaning and ignore to hurt someone, it makes it any sense. If that makes any sense, well, you could say it loses its power. You could say that, but it goes back to the origins. It always goes back to how it made people feel, to what it really meant. You could change the meaning all you want, but people will remember. There's a history, of this thing. I won't use the word because to me, I think it's far more intelligent ways to insult somebody without having to go into their race and nationality. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to culturally appropriate the word. There's something uneasy about what you just said, Patch, but I guess you could say that it is because the white slave owners were the ones that created the word, unfortunately, and that's part of the problem as well. So when it comes to somebody who has that deep history, to where white slave owners are somebody, that created or used that word, and I can't even go into that origin. I can't even say that. I have to go into my history, but they've used it a lot. So it is kind of crazy like that, but it's a word that goes a lot deeper than whether or not white folks say it. you know, it does go into a situation as to, why we as black people feel and still need to use the word. You know, like I said, it is something where it begs of you to say, hey, why would you still use it in the music if you're gonna be mad that people are saying it outside of the music that are or inside of the music or outside of the culture, that are of a different persuasion. So it does become confusing. But like I said, people have said that they use it as a term of endearment to bring power back and whatnot. And there's the hypocritical nature of it to say, okay, you can buy my music, you can listen to my music, and you could, do all that, but you can't say it. Have you ever used the word? I mean, I've used the word. It's not something I'm proud of saying. But at the same time, I know better. I'm an intelligent individual. It's not something that I strive to do. It's not something that I want to particularly partake in. But sometimes you can get into caught up in the force of habit, but you can't sing the lyrics to my rap song. Yeah, unfortunately, Patch, that's where the hypocritical nature of it comes in. So that's why it gets dicey because it's like I could be one of your biggest fans. I could be somebody who spent millions of dollars, putting you out there, or thousands of dollars, buying your material, your merchandise and whatnot. Um, yeah, we all make mistakes, but sometimes it's not a mistake. I get you, Patch. I use it when I'm pissed, Well, yeah, it's crazy game over because it is a situation where unfortunately, as black people, we're probably one of the few races that actually take such a racially charged word, and that's described to go against us and try to use it as a term of endearment. We're probably one of the only races that do that. I mean, I don't see anybody using any anti-Semitic language and trying to use it as a term of endearment. I mean, I ain't gonna say the words, but you know what the words are. So, I mean, in black folks, I guess unique in that right, in that regard, or whatever the case may be. That's correct. Sorry, once you put it in the art form, you lose control of that word. Um, some people say that, Patch. Some people say that, but as a lot of folks don't feel that way. I don't use words like I said because at least they're double digits, and you can take other ways to insult a person. Yeah, that's one way of saying it, but that gets controversial because you're saying you don't use it because you can find other ways to insult people. So somebody could say, well, if you insulted me, then did you really mean to use that word instead of insulting me? I say I don't know. The way that you did. I mean, people take it and I guess it turns into something else. I don't know. Yeah, you're the king of controversy, but be careful out there because, like I said, things can get racially charged and they can get thrown out of the way and whatnot, and it can really get out of hand. And like I said, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I said a couple of times when I was young because I thought it was cool. Now I know better. Yeah, well, I mean, soulless trench coat. I mean, it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing, especially when you're in the wrong situation. Licensed carry to conceal. Well, I mean, I hear you, Patch, but there's some people who are unlicensed, who don't care about that, who carry to conceal as well, So just be careful about that. Yeah, is it bad programming or bad teaching? Probably is. Like I said, it's used as a term of endearment. It's used in a way where, like I said, folks are trying to bring the power back to it and make it into something that uplifts black people and gives them dignity and things of that nature. It's a controversial word because of the history of it and how we feel as black people with folks using it and whatnot. It's touchy because on one end, like I said, folks shouldn't say it. Nobody. But the reality is that it's this issue as well because it's still being used. It's something that, like I said, it's a term of endearment. It's a word that folks are using to reclaim power. It's a word that people just like to say, hey, this is between me and my people. This is something that we've claimed, something that you use to demean us and tear us down, and we've claimed. And sometimes you say, I just want that to be respected, and that's one part of it. But then the other part of it becomes, which makes it hypocritical, is when you say, okay, well now I put it in my music, I put it in my movies, and I want you to support that, but I don't want you to say it word for word. So that's where it becomes a very dicey situation. I grew up in Coney Island in Flatbush, and when I was a kid, my friends were all black, and I always called my friends fill in the blank, blah blah blah. That didn't care to work. Well, there's the thing about that. I mean, Patch, if you're around people, black folks that allow you to say the word, and you call each other that and whatnot, then that can work to a degree. But you may get around some folks that may not like the way that you may be talking to each other and that could turn into a very heated situation, especially folks that come from the South, especially people that are in situations where, you know what, they don't care who knows who, right? I see the level, love to see you in the FA words. That's crazy. My point was I didn't like the word even then. Well, like I said, it's not a word that it's not a beautiful word. It's not a beautiful thing to say, but there's irony in it. There's poetry in the word. There's significance in how the word is used. I mean, it's something that's used to supplement. I guess a term of endearment. That's the only way I could really say it. I mean, and as far as white folks saying it, it's something I would if I was a white person, I would be very weary of saying, regardless of what era you come up in, regardless of what country you live in, regardless of what background you come from. It's one of those things as far as black folks saying it, as far as how we come with it. It's something we have to deal with internally within the community. But at the same time, I tell folks to be careful because it is a divisive issue. Definitely a divisive issue. And I don't really want people to find themselves in a negative situation or whatever the case may be. I feel like you shouldn't say it if you don't want to invite the controversy and the trouble that comes with it. Oh, I wanted to say that I would say it because I have the freedom of speech to do so, but I personally don't like it. Well, you do have the freedom of speech to say whatever words that you choose, but then now you have the right to be called a bigot and hate speech and racist and all this other stuff. And that's why it gets dicey for white people because when you saying it, you automatically can get accused of being a racist and whatnot. And I don't think that's something that you want. You may be saying it because it's a term of endearment to you, but there's the negative connotations that comes to it. That's why it gets so dicey because regardless of how somebody who is white is trying to say it and make it and spin it, it comes from a situation where folks are saying, okay, you're the ancestors of somebody who was possibly a slave master. So now you're the ancestor of somebody who's possibly a slave master trying to say something to me that was a negative word. So it flips back. It's like me saying, okay, this word is for me and my people, and this is how I choose to spin it. So let me have that. And you have to just understand because this is something that I'm dealing with. This is a hypocrisy or a negativity that I just want to have within my community. And that's one way, that I look at it, especially with the rapper Kendrick Lamar was talking about. Yes, freedom of speech exists, but it still doesn't. Freedom says it still has its consequences. Yes, it does. I have a coworker who is black and only uses the word when describing someone bad, never as a term of endearment. Well, there's that too. Sometimes people only use that word when describing somebody bad, even within the black community, and that gets dicey as well because why can't a person just be a bad person? A person doesn't have to be that because no matter how much you try to use the word as a term of endearment, it can always, always, always be slanted and switched and turned around and turned into something negative. The N word can always be turned into something negative. So that's one of the issues that we have. I mean, is it a word that folks are going to stop using? Is it something that's just going to magically disappear and go away? No. People are going to be using that word until kingdom come. If Jesus come back on the chariot, they're going to be like, "What up, my N word?" Blah blah blah. It was Jack A 420. I haven't seen you in so long. Thank you for coming through. But it. I mean, using the N word is like I said, it's dicey because, like I said, it comes to a point where I know there's a lot of white folks out there who don't mean it as a sense of harm. Even people of different, things or whatever the case. I think it's disgraceful regardless of who says it. Yeah, Lulu, I mean, I feel you, but it's a word that's not going anywhere. It's not going away, So, I mean, all of you are making some great points in here, but it's just one of those things where black people are gonna keep saying it. When you use a derogatory to describe a color, a race, or nationality, it's just wrong. Yeah, it is wrong, Patch, and I don't disagree with you on that. But we all have things in society that we like to do. Some people say, it's wrong to put toxins in your body. It's wrong to drink and smoke certain foreign substances and whatever the case may be. But people do what they do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people are not going to stop doing things that are being perceived to be negative or that are actually negative or whatever the case may be. It's just something that's just going to happen. Oh no, hot button topic. I mean, it's a respectful conversation, Bumblebee Junction. I'm not trying to demean or defame anybody or whatnot. It's been pretty civil so far. Some people are probably like, why is this man even bringing this up? But yeah, it's a hot button topic. It's kind of crazy because I almost feel bad for white folks when it comes to the situation, especially, what about your thoughts on the term wigger? Well, it's a sad attempt at a beatdown. It's a sad attempt at cultural appropriation and a great attempt at a beatdown. I wouldn't go with it. There's a difference between doing something to yourself that only affects you and then calling someone a blah 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 or that's true. I mean, when it comes to racial epithets, when it comes to different things that folks say to each other, it's wild. I mean, it's wrong in any stretch. It's I guess what happens with black folks is just that we've been so effective at taking it and turning it into a cultural phenomenon or something that is seen and known. Like if you look at the group NWA, saying the N words with an attitude. I mean, or like one of Tupac's albums. One of his famous albums is strictly for my ninjas, but not ninjas. The other word. So it comes down to a point where people take the word and they try to reclaim it back. But no matter how much you try to reclaim the word, no matter how much you try to make it as a sense of empowerment, it's still a negative thing. Because and the reason we know this is because the moment that a white person says the word, we're ready to fight. Even if we brought up the conversation, even if we're the ones saying the word, and doing it and whatnot, we're saying, hey, this is what you may have thought of us, this is how you may demean us. But the moment you say it, now you're bringing up some old emotions and stuff like that. This is a word to only be said within the black community or Hispanic community, around people that understand or can really relate to that. And it's crazy. Point I'm making is that people need to pop their heads out of their blah 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 and divide the country. They couldn't the same culture one day we were born here. Well, I hear where you're coming from, Patch, but it's deeper than that. People haven't healed from the wounds of the past. People haven't healed from the ancestral things, the slavery, the racial epithets. One of my favorite Biggie songs has the word in it, and I just switched it out with a stupid fool or what I quoted or sing it. Yeah, that's one of the things that you could do, Trenchcoat, but the reality is no matter how many times you try to switch the word out, no matter how many times you try to change it around and not say it or whatever the case, the word is in your mind. It's always there. It's ever present. So it does become harder because, there's, it's all around. It's all in the culture, especially as, people of different races consume black music or, the hip hop culture, or different things that are said and done. It becomes interesting, because how do you respect and revere the music, but at the same time you're dealing with the almost like a political correctness that comes with not using it or having not to use it. And then, like Patch said, there's a freedom of speech. So you have the freedom of speech to say the word, especially in an artistic context. But then it becomes an issue because now when you say the word, there's the racial, epithets, there's the slavery aspect of it that comes in. That's when it becomes confusion. The people that are alive today and the most part within the Jim Crow days and on slavery and the Irish and Italians were used for slavery. Black people, where's my point? Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I was about to call you Cat Patch, but the reality is that it's a word that stalks up or stirs up deep emotions in people. It's something that reminds people who have ancestors or who had grandparents or great grandparents back from that time. Folks that were in the civil rights movement, people that experienced deep racism from the South and whatnot. People need to stop with this. And I ain't hear from some stuff I personally experienced. Well, that's true too, Patch. People have things that they haven't personally healed from or need to deal with and whatnot. But the reality is that there's a lot of negativity attached to the word. See, there's an unspoken hypocrisy to the word that nobody likes to talk about, as it can be used as a term of endearment amongst people of color or people of the black race or whatever you want to say. It still is a negative word because if somebody says it outside of the black community, it's negativity. It's just like it's almost as if as a black person, as black people, we want you to respect the hypocrisy, but we don't want you to call us out on it. And that's a controversial statement even in myself to say. I could be vilified for this live stream. A lot of stuff that I'm saying on this live stream is a hot button topic, but for me within the black community, because right now, whether you folks believe it or not, I'm already a Uncle Tom. I'm already a coon and a buffoon. I'm already a token individual. I'm Uncle Ben. I'm Uncle Mel Mel. I'm Uncle everybody. So I get that too. So it is a double standard. No, it's not a double standard of sorts, Patch. It is a double standard. I'm saying straight up. I mean, yeah, Soulless Trench Coat, I'm handling it well, but like I said, you take this off to the black community, and then all of a sudden, like I said, if I'm having this conversation within the black community, I'm being cursed out every which way. So what if I don't care that you are black? Well, that's cool. That's cool, but it's a situation where the word itself, Bumblebee, stirs up so many negative emotions. It stirs up so many different connotations. Well, I have a question for you. Should Irish people, Italian people, and Chinese be able to call themselves Irish Americans and Italians and so forth? Well, I mean, you can call yourself whatever you like. I mean, I could call myself a white person if I wanted to, but you gotta look at the truth for what's true and demand that everyone recognize it. I mean, folks can call themselves whatever they want and demand that people recognize it, which is a live stream I'm saving for another time. Um, well, listen, I mean, it's how you self-identify. I get that point. I get that point. Disagree. Had many black friends and they called me many names. They said to me to use the N word was nothing negative. Um, I don't know, Art. I don't know. It's an interesting thing because there's a lot of people who feel some type of ways about it. Yeah. I get you. I get you, Patch. Yeah, I know. I self-identify as Bell's brother from another mother. Yeah, there you go. I ain't mad at you on that. I don't know, Patch. It's interesting. It's just interesting when it comes to this word. It comes to, I mean, because even if white folks don't say the word ever again, within the black community we have disagreements about whether or not we should use. You're always going to do it on another stream or with you invite me on the panel. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to do that. But I do actually have it written down. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do. This is one of the other live streams that I have set up to do. Basically, another live stream that I'm gonna do is about identity politics, how you self identify, labels and stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is, Patch. But you're the one that brought it up. So do you think this stream would be much different if there was more African Americans? Of course. Of course, Soulless Trench Coat. If there was more African Americans in the chat, especially, I've already been there. And I'm not saying I have anything against my people, but I don't have a popular view right now. This is something, I'm already Uncle Tom. I'm already Uncle Tom. I'm already the coon and the buffoon. I already know that. I'm already a villain right now, in a lot of ways, and I'm fine with that. There's people in the black community who would agree with me and understand where I'm coming from. I'm coming from an objective point of view. Well, you're funny, Patch. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't care about that. But I'm still saying it just to be said for the record, posted out there because I don't want people to think that there's no black folks out there that are not thinking about these things consciously and coming at that because it seems like mostly white people right now that I can tell. Well, listen, I talk to all people. I know there's an Asian person in here. I seen Jack A420. Thank you for coming through. I mean, I try to connect and talk with all types of people because, how can I did say white people in the title. So, so actually, should white people use the N word? I mean, of course, there's a lot of black people out there that say no, and I say no as well, too. But I'm also coming from the standpoint where I say black people shouldn't use the word as well because it's negative. It's like Lulu said, the word is, disgraceful, disgusting, no matter how it's used. Even if it's used as a term of endearment by me, even if I hear it in the songs, there's a lot of popular songs and stuff like that, why people dwell on how different we are and realize even more and more alike they care to admit is beyond me. Yeah, no, definitely Dory, we are alike a lot in a lot of ways, but people like to divide I guess folks between their differences. What makes us different is easy to take and keep us separated from each other and use as a source of hate and whatnot. To be honest, it seems like a lot of black people feel that no one should be using the word either. I have noticed that. Yeah, there's a lot of black people that feel like nobody should be using the word. I'm one of those people who feels like the word shouldn't be used at all. But sometimes you come under the pressure, you come under the habits, you come under, hey, maybe somebody's using it over there. You don't want to seem out of the group or whatever, or peer pressure if you're coming up as a youngster. My grandmother's half black, my stepdaughter's mulatto, my granddaughters half Latino. You won't find much hate in the house. That's cool. I definitely say that. You guys and girls know the other millennials really started the difference between, say, Mel and I hear that. I hear that. I hear that, Patch. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know. It's just a real thing that could be solved so simply, but it does come down to folks how folks are raised and habits. And there's a lot of folks out there who say, why should I change? Why should I not be able to use the word? Because if you look at to what Kendrick Lamar is saying in his comments to Vanity Fair, he's saying that because there's so many things that a black person can't do in this country, because there's so much that has been denied, what? Let me at least claim this and have this and not be denied this. Let me at least say, this is something I'm going to try to take as a negative and turn it into a positive. That I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I get it. I know where it's coming from. And the reason I don't try to gravitate towards that, even if I say the word or use the word myself, is because, it still has negative connotations to it. You know what I'm saying? People have fought and died not to be called that. That's why it becomes a point of contention, whether I'd say it or not. So it's kind of crazy. Okay, well, can a black person not do this? What? Okay, what can a black person not do in this country legally? Um, there's a lot of things that a black person can legally do in this country. However, I get where Kendrick Lamar was coming from. It's still people from afar, from closer from a distance, trying to give a person struggle or resistance or put obstacles in that person's way. So while a person may be able to do something, it still doesn't come without its setbacks. It still doesn't come without its hurdles that are maybe more than normal because of certain bigotry, certain racism that may exist. So yeah, maybe there's a whole bunch of things that a black person can get, but not without so much of a fight, not without so much of a strain, not without seeing somebody saying, hey, you know what, this is the first to do that. I could tell you one thing that legally it would be hard for a black man to do again in this country is to become president. It may be a long time before we see another black president, Patch. I know Obama was there in 2008, but I'll tell you this much: I'll have gray hairs and grandchildren my age before there's another black man or black woman in president. That's in office. I feel that. I mean, and if it is so, I'll eat my words. But there may be a long time before there's another black person in office. And it's hard. So I mean, so I don't know. Why he do anything for the black people? See, well, that's beside the point, Patch. Whether you believe he didn't do anything for the black people or not, it's still something that's a challenge to do, and that's what folks are saying. Like even where I come from in New York, and you're from New York as well. You want to talk about the mayor? We've had a black mayor. Our first black mayor was David Dinkins. And wow, that was in the '90s. 91 or something like that. I'm not if I'm not mistaken, and he only had one term, and now you look, it's 2018. We still haven't had another black man. I mean, I hear what you're saying though. Yeah, it was 91. I know what your position is. We're all the same humans, but just added, we're so different depending on who we are as people. Yeah, Fury. I mean, we could be different depending on who we are as people, but some people have more challenges than others because forget about me as a black person. You have Asian people and Hispanic peoples in this country, who have it, a lot harder than a lot of, black folks, just from a discrimination standpoint. I mean, I appreciate that creative spirit, but I don't know if I have the chops or the wherewithal to be president of the United States. That's a hard job, and, kudos to anybody that can stand in the office and not melt. And shout out to the Cheeto, President Trump. Hmm. I don't know about that, Dory, but I appreciate that. I don't know. This is just it's a rough subject because no matter what folks want to admit or not admit to it, it's so much negativity attached to the word. I'm just talking about people judging you for the color of your skin. We are different and maybe more talented than I am, and we're taller than you are, and judgment and color rather than character. It's not the way to go. I hear where you're coming from with that, Patch. I can't deny that. There's certain judgments, and it's kind of funny that you say about judgments because we was talking about judgments last time on the last live stream that I had. So it's kind of interesting that you talk about judgment. It's kind of ironic and funny that you bring that up, but I appreciate that. It's definitely worth mentioning and knowing. But we as people have so many different things to iron out and really deal with. And I think as it becomes to the N word, you know, the NIGGER or A or whatever. You have one judge a person of color, one judge them on what they do. Yeah, I agree with that, Patch. I definitely agree with that. As it comes to the N word, it's so divisive, it's so controversial because no matter how much black people try to claim it and switch it and turn it into something positive, there's always that negative origin, that connotation comes to it. There's always the blackface, people in blackface, white folks in blackface, the buck dancing, the Jim Crow, the civil rights, the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings that have died for this person. I was raised to judge a person by their actions, not by their color. It's irrelevant. I mean, well, it's like Malcolm, not Malcolm. It's like Martin Luther King said. You want to be seen for the content of your character, not the color of your skin. But the reality is, the N word. It's no way to say it. It's no way to go around it without there being the color of the skin attached to it. Even in the term of endearment, you're saying, who are you endearing that word to? You're endearing that word to black people. So even if you're trying to reclaim the word becomes racially charged or racially motivated regardless. You could be saying it like, oh, that's my brother, that's my ninja or whatever the case may be. Everybody comes by is well, I'm not gonna say all that, Patch. I'm not gonna say he's a moron. I'm not gonna say Kendrick Lamar is a moron. I'm saying he's somebody who may be coming from a standpoint which he's passionate about. He may be wrong on the situation, and who knows? You know, I mean, I don't know. Some people are saying that he set the fan up. I don't think he set the fan up. I think it was an understanding that he brought the fan up there, that they would know to block the word out or whatever the case may be. What I think he should have done is say, look, you could come up here and sing these lyrics, but don't say the N word. And people have done that. And I respect the artist for saying that. If you give people the terms and let people know the rules to the game before they come up there and play it, then I can respect that. The way he was wrong for calling the person out was he brought the person on the stage and didn't put out the rules. At least from what my understanding is, he didn't put out the rules to the game or the rules to why you bringing this person up and what it is. There was almost like this unspoken, unwritten thing. And then you got the nerve to be in Alabama. That to me that took balls to do. You in Alabama saying this. He didn't put out any rules, and that's something that he probably should have did. But I don't know. So I mean, and then on the other end, regardless of whether he put rules out there or not, it still comes down to a situation where it's still a racially charged situation because even as black people, if we claim the word, there's a lot of us that know that when you use that word, when you say that word, there's a lot of people who have fought and died for us to be seen as human beings. There are people who have fought and died for you folks out there, to see me as a human, to see me beyond color, to see me for the content of my character. So when you put that word and you add that word to the conversation and put it in the mix, even if it's a term of endearment, even if it's something used to describe somebody's negative behavior, it's wrong because people literally have fought and died. People have literally gave their lives and everything that they've owned to just be seen and respected for just being a human being with a mind, with a brain, with a soul, with a body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, how can we expect this person not to use the word if he didn't say anything? Well, and that's probably one of the things that happened. I don't know the concert, and I'm not trying to down the brother for it. But if I say to you, if I have racially charged lyrics, let's say I write a poem, and you want to recite the poem that I wrote, and in the poem I have the N word in there 50 times, and I'm saying to you, come up there and recite this poem, or let you recite the lyrics. I'm saying to you, if I don't say to you, bleep out the word, then I expect you to read the poem with the N word in the poem 50 times. So I think on his part there may have been a naivete on that because it's like, all right, brother, the person paid for the ticket. I'm assuming they paid for the ticket to come in there and listen to you rap and use the word and use the language and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not going to cite your poem. Sorry if you tell me I can't read it as it is written as a double standard. And truthfully, it is a double standard. It is a double standard if that's what you want, Patch. If you want to recite something, and I'm telling you to recite it, and I'm bringing you in a public forum to recite it, it does become a situation where now you have conflicts because either you're gonna acknowledge that double standard or you're not. He said, so it's just, I'm just saying, and then here comes Dexter. I was waiting for the trolls to come. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, it's a situation where it's crazy because no matter how you slice it, it's a hypocrisy. It's a double standard that's going to be brought up, whether Kendrick Lamar agrees with it or not. Well, me, I'm always going to recognize that the double standard and call it out. Stupid cap locks. There you go. Well, the thing about it, Patch, is that you should call out the double standard. But see, for you to call out the double standard, being a white person, that's going to even make more controversy to it. So they're saying to you, okay, you want to say the word with all the negative connotations that come with it from a white person, and then and then on top of that, you want to call out the double standard, and they'll look at you like maybe that's a triple standard, like Bumblebee Junction is saying. So it gets dicey because it's something that hasn't been dealt with. It's just something that doesn't really get dealt with. It's something that gets passed over and swept up because now we have to go into the issue of slavery. Now we have to go into the issue of segregation. Now we have to go into a lot of things that we have to talk about with the racial inequality and history in this country. And yes, for those that don't know, I'm extremely open-minded and speak my mind. Well, there's nothing wrong with speaking your mind, as long as you can be civil about it, as long as you can disagree, and then nobody has to get into the fisticuffs, because then we dwell into this perceived white guilt nonsense. Well, there's white guilt. There's white guilt. Whites are becoming debaters in today's society. Some people feel that way. Some people do feel that way. I disagree with you. There's still, I hate to say it, there's still white privilege. There's still things that exist. There's still opportunities that a young white male will have that will still take me time to get to. Even being 37 years old, and then even an older white male. And I'm not saying that that's something that I'm sitting around, feeling some kind of way about. It's just there's certain advantages that certain people have. There's certain ways that folks came up. There's certain things that you say, hey, look, you know, you do have an advantage because of the preconceived notions or whatever. Because 90% of white people never owned a slave or brought into segregation. I mean, how have we got segregation that black people are wanted? I hear you, but spray paint, what? But white spray paint problem solved. Nah, I don't know about the white spray paint. That's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea, Dexter. But thank you for the what do you call it? The suggestion. I don't know. It's a situation to where I feel like we have a lot of issues in this country as it pertains to race, a tattered history, a tainted history, of inequality and injustice and bigotry that we haven't really ever dealt with all the way. Um, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if everybody ability to lose their color. I don't want to lose my color. I am happy to be a black man. I'm happy to look the way that I look. But color defines the world. Yeah, well, one of the colors that define the world the most is the color green. Money makes a lot of things happen. So money talks. Hmm. But that's kind of crazy. Got to know when a yellow agent is driving crazily. I don't know what that means, but I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna go there with you. All I know is that as it pertains to the N word, yeah, yeah, Dexter, you got to chill out with that. Because that's not what we're about in here. We're not bringing that into the conversation. Yeah, there you go. And that's what we're gonna just leave it at that. But definitely, yeah, there you go, Patch. Speak up, let them know. Speak up, because I'm not here to offend, anyway. Yeah, unfortunately, I got to do something I don't want to do. But it's kind of funny because we got to it this one. No, no, I got it, Patch. I got it, Patch. I got it. No, no, nobody's starting the beefing. Do, 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 do. Yeah, well, Slayer. Nobody's starting the beef. There'll be interesting patch, but we're still reason to segregate ourselves. Yeah, yeah, Patch. I had to do that whole thing because, like I said, we got to the point. Sorry about that, Patch. Sorry about that. Anybody else in the conversation, to the trolls, I get what you're trying to do, but there's some situations and some scenarios that are just too serious. You're a nice guy, brother. Well, I try to be civil about my situations and whatever because I don't want to take away from nah, I know what you say, Slay. I do trolls don't make me come visit you. Nah, nobody has to come visit a troll. Nobody has to come after anybody. Nobody has to do anything like that. I actually expected the trolls to come. I'm surprised that they waited so long to come to the chat to tell you the truth. I'm surprised they didn't come a lot sooner, but maybe they was busy trolling somebody else. As far as trolls, I get, trolls, they got to do what they got to do and they try to make it be something. Yeah. Nah, it's all good. It's all good, Patch. Even with you being in here, I'm surprised that they took so long to come. Oh my God, here we go. I'm from a lot of trolls and some good troll groups. Well, listen, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I know the trolls have to say their thing. I want that message to the death. Yeah. Nah, Slayer, it's all good. We were just having a conversation and whatnot. I have more subs and supporters than y'all. Well, I mean, Lloyd V, I'm not denying that you do have more subs and all that other stuff, but I try to come from a real place. I know who it is. I know who it is. But it's a situation where I'm still going to speak my piece and say what I say and whatnot. I'm not worried about it. And as for like I said about the N word, it's just negative. It's dicey. You know what I'm saying? Cool. That's cool. That's cool, Lord V. I mean, I have two accounts. I have two accounts, and I can leave YouTube tomorrow. It's not a big deal to me. Like I said, if you control me off of YouTube, I'm impressed. If you control me in real life, you control me. I look up and see a Lord V or Dexter thing, I'll be impressed. Yeah, okay. No, do. For sure. My dad is being a preacher. I was raised to respect all races. Nothing bad ever was said in our home about any race. Um, that's cool. That's cool. Lonely prepper. You don't want to have anything ever said anything bad about any race or whatever the case may be. Do you think white privilege is really that's widespread? I grew up and I could not afford college, joined the GI Bill. And stuff. Uh, White privilege is not as crazy as people may make it out to be, but at the same time, it does exist. People do have certain advantages, maybe because they come from a different race or certain situation, depending on who's in charge. It could be something that's Hispanic, it could be something that's black. It's all types of ways that people may treat each other because they come from the same race and stuff like that over somebody else who's from a different race. But there's a lot of open-minded people now. Personally, it isn't white privilege; it is rich privilege. Well, I need some rich privilege now. I need some rich privilege. And, whoever's saying it's just um, here we go. Here we go. I can do this all night. I can do this all night. But yeah, so oh, yeah, saying, yeah, let the peaceful righteous man stream. Nah, it's all good. It's all good, Slayer. I'm almost to the end of the stream anyway. I didn't suggest a thing. I know your feelings hurt, sunshine. Um, yeah. Nah, it's all good, Patch. It's all good. I mean, it's a live stream within a live stream. It's a battle within a battle. I get it. I expected the trolls. I expected. Actually, this was kind of civil, Slayer. If you want to go for it for this live stream, for the type of live stream that I'm having, for the type of energy that I've got from you folks, I definitely think. Yeah, no, definitely, Patch. Nah, I mean, we just talking. We people having a conversation and whatnot. And I get it. People have to troll and whatnot. What people don't realize, what the trolls don't realize, is that, like I said, I could shut down this YouTube account and keep it moving. Nah, listen, Bumblebee, yeah, I ain't gotta defend me. It's all good. I appreciate it. I mean, I get it. The trolls, they make you stronger. They try to come at a certain time or whatever. If you don't have trolls, if you don't have people coming to say something negative or whatever the case may be, then what do? Have you ever seen Channel Rucka and so what are your thoughts? No, I have not seen Channel Rucka. I don't know. there's a lot of people on here. Well, it's fun to troll. Sometimes I'm fun to troll. Sometimes I'm not. I get it. We come for advice. You do come for advice. I'll give you folks that. You do come for advice. But sometimes I just try to be serious because there's a lot of serious things going on in the world. And as to Sherry K, I will say I get it. I can't be serious all the time or analytical all the time. But there's so much to analyze. Like Patch, I'm one of those people that has so much to say. Or somebody that's with the should drive your address to your house. Mel, with the somebody that's with the drive. Well, listen. Um, if somebody dropped the address to my house, they'd be foolish to come to the projects. Like I said, I pray to God for the soul that comes to my projects. I pray to God. If you don't believe me, I'll tell you. You go Google Red Hook Projects and you look at the history. I could go out now and show you what's outside. Ben Lurker got to go. Have a great night. Yeah, I see you, Llama Monster. You were pretty quiet. Uh, Listen, I mean, not your house. I'm talking about the trolls. Oh, the trolls. Nah, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't worry about having the trolls address. Even if I had the trolls address and I knew exactly where to go, I wouldn't waste my time. I enjoy my freedom. I don't. I mean, no offense to any of the trolls out there, unless you've done something physically to come after my family or me or something like that. I don't have time for it. It's not worth the effort. It's really not. It's really not. What are we gonna do? Shoot someone at front door? Nah. Nah, I'm not interested in the violence. I'm not interested in the smoke as it comes to the trolls. No friends with a lot of trolls, and ain't nothing you could do to make me afraid of you or any man. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like that. Like I said, I'm not worrying about the trolls per se or whatever the case may be. Here's a channel that makes parody songs of post songs out and they're very, very racist and fun. Other races includes white people, but so the African Americans the most. Um, no, I didn't know that Soulless Trench Coat. I really didn't know that. I didn't know that Trenchy. There's a lot of people I'm not above violence, Bumblebee Junction. I'm not above violence, but I'm not about violence. Yeah, nah, we're not gonna go after the man that refuses to die. We're not gonna go after Patch, because Granny Monster did say something to me. Um, Granny Monster did say something to me that was real about trolling and people attacking folks inside the thing. We're not gonna do that because at the end of the day, I don't need folks, going back and forth with trolls or whatever the case may be. Shoot the house. Nah. We don't need to do all that. Like I said, it's all peace and love. It's all peace and love. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I'm kind of stalling and whatnot. And I think the trolls and everybody else for the watch time. If you only knew what Keith flapping the fingers and keyboards, bro, yeah, they don't know. They don't know Patch. They don't know Patch. Like I said, the trolls don't know. The trolls don't know. Like I said, people think that this stuff is a game. People start that I tell any troll, just leave it alone. Nah, look, Quica, it's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be that. If anything, we're gonna shut this down now because the conversation has went left. Nobody's gonna hurt anybody. Nobody's gonna do anything to anybody. Thank you for everybody coming through. It's all good. Appreciate everybody. Just thank you for everything. As always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. And thank you for the watch time, everybody. Oh my God! For dramatic effect, I will cut off the light tomorrow. These trolls are crazy, man. Nobody's gonna have to pop a troll. Nobody's gonna have to pop a troll. Oh my God! Love, love, peace, peace, peace.